Here's a funny German sentence for you. Lassen Sie sie ruhig beneiden. Without context and capitalization, it could mean just let her envy them, just let her envy you, just let her envy her. Just let them envy them, just let them envy you, and just let them envy her. And this took me 11 takes. What the hell is going on with personal pronouns in German? Stay tuned to find out. Tag an alle, my name is Florian and I've been teaching German for 7 years now. And one of the topics that look deceivingly easy but need further explanation is personal pronouns. In this video I'm going to dive into them and talk about every little aspect that you might or might not know yet. Let's jump right into it. A pronoun, like the Latin name would suggest, is a substitute for a noun, and there are many different types such as relative, determinative, or interrogative pronouns. However, today I want to talk about personal pronouns that describe participants or objects in a conversation. And to be a bit less academic here, we're talking about I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, alright? I think that explains it very well. So let's take a look at their Germanic counterparts. Like in English, we refer to them as first, second, and third person, singular or plural. Let's go through them. Ich, I. Du, you. Er, he. Sie, she. Es, it. Wir, we. Ihr, you, and sie, they. Now, by just looking at this table, you might notice two things. First of all, we have two yous in English. The difference is that this one refers to one person and that one to two or more people. Over the years, English dialects have actually become quite innovative to distinguish them. You guys, yous, yins, or my favorite one, the southern y'all, which I'll be using in this video from now on to describe the plural. In German, however, we just have two words. Du is always one person and ihr, two or more. The second thing you might have noticed and that I joked about in the intro is that both she and they are translated to sie in German. So how do we know which one is meant? The answer is quite easy, the verb form is different. Sie spricht means she speaks. However, sie sprechen means they speak. Little side note here, verb conjugation is definitely something I'll cover in this playlist, so whenever a video is ready, I'll link it in the info card right here. Now before we get into the nitty-gritty, there's one last thing to add here. If you want to address someone formally, you can't do it with any of these pronouns. Both du and ihr are used in informal speech, and the formal version of those two is yet another sie, but this time capitalized. This is the form you need when talking to your boss, elderly people, or basically anybody over you in the social hierarchy. And a very good question here would be, why sie? Why would I use they when talking to somebody in person? And yeah, fair enough. German is one of the very few languages where you have to use the third person, in our case the third person plural, to formally address one person or a group of people. Most European languages use the second person plural for that. And if you had French in high school or university and learned about the tu vous distinction, you know what I'm talking about. Fun fact, we used to do that as well. During the Middle Ages, ihr was used to be formal, and you can still hear that in movies or games that revolve around the Middle Ages or a fantasy world of similar shape.
Zu lange habt ihr im Schatten gesessen.
However, even that form became too familiar, and there had to be another way to be much more indirect, which is how sie, they, came into existence and has been used ever since. But to keep things as simple as possible, you can just use the same conjugation for the formal you as for they. That also means that Sie sprechen can be translated to you formally speak. So to wrap things up, you should informally address one person with du, two or more with ihr, and use Sie to speak to any number of people formally. One last thing about honorifics, we actually have two verbs that express the form of address. Duzen for informal speech and siezen for formal speech. But I'll get into the specifics of German formality in a later video. Alright, are you ready for some examples? Let's come up with something interesting. Ich habe keine Ahnung. I have no idea. Du bist ein Trottel. You, informally, are a moron. Er hat keinen Job. He doesn't have a job. Sie hasst Horrorfilme. She hates horror movies. Es dauert nur 2 Monate. It only takes 2 months. Wir sind verrückt. We are crazy. Ihr seid Atheisten, oder? You guys are atheists, right? Sie hassen Atheisten. They hate atheists. Notice the different verb forms here. Sie hasst, she hates. Sie hassen, they hate. And finally, Sie sind ein furchtbarer Boss. You, formally, are a terrible boss. Literally, they are a terrible boss, but you're only addressing one person here. Now, I would end the video here if German didn't have any cases, but it does, and personal pronouns can be declined accordingly. All of the examples I've gone through just now were in the nominative case, so they were the subject of the sentence. Oh, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, you can go and watch my video about the German case system, which I'll link in the info card right here. Anyway, English is not too different here. If, let's say, he is the object of the sentence, you have to change the word to him, as in she likes him. She likes he doesn't work because now you have two subjects in the same sentence. By the way, this is one of the only remnants of the old case system in English. Yeah, English had cases as well. But anyway, here's the table. Now, German is a bit more extensive, so let's focus on the accusative first. Ich, mich. Du, dich. Er, ihn. Sie, sie. Es, wir. Uns, ihr. Euch, sie, sie. Yeah, I know, she, her, they, them, you formally are all translated to sie. Joke's on you. The only exception here is that the formal sie is always capitalized. So let's make a few examples with the pronouns in their accusative form, marked in red. Du kennst mich. You know me. Ich sehe dich nicht. I don't see you. This was the Skype conversation starter. Sie mag ihn. She likes him. Er mag sie. He likes her. Could also mean he likes them or even he likes you formally, so we absolutely have to establish context prior to the sentence. Die Leute wollen es so. The people want it this way. Die Geschenke sind für uns. The presents are for us. Here the preposition für demands the accusative case. Ist es schwierig für euch? Is it difficult for y'all? Ich verstehe sie nicht. I don't understand them. Again, could also mean I don't understand her or I don't understand you formally, so pay attention to contextual clues here. Die Firma braucht sie. The company needs you. The only way to distinguish this sentence from the company needs her and the company needs them is the capitalized Z in writing or context in real life. As you can see, the accusative is not too wild, although you have to watch out for the word Sie in general. Let's move on to the dative, marked in orange. Ich, mir. Du, dir. Er, ihm. Sie, ihr. Es, ihm. Wir, uns. Ihr, euch. Sie, ihnen, and the formal sie, also ihnen. Er hilft mir oft. He often helps me. Geht es dir gut? Are you doing alright? Literally, goes it well to you. That's why we use the dative here. Sie redet nicht mit ihm. She doesn't talk to him. Here, the dative is indicated by the preposition mit, with. Mit ihr gehen wir in kein Restaurant. We don't go to any restaurant with her. The pronoun es is also ihm in the dative case, but you wouldn't really use it all that much. It usually refers back to a neuter noun. For example, das ist ein wildes Tier, geh nicht zu ihm. That is a wild animal, don't come near it. I'll address that a bit later in this video. For now, let's continue. Sie bringen uns Deutsch bei. They are teaching German to us. Die Schilder zeigen euch den Weg. The signs will show you all the way. Wir gehen heute zu ihnen. Today we're going to them. Also here the dative is required by the preposition zu, to or towards. Ich antworte Ihnen später. I'm going to reply to you, formally, later. Again, only context will differentiate this one from I'm going to reply to them later. And that's it. That's the whole table. Now, some of you might raise the objection that, hey, you didn't include the genitive. However, that was on purpose for the simple reason that we don't use it anymore. Actually, a number of dangerously half-true tables like this one are floating around on the internet, so I'm going to address this real quick. The genitive only really exists as a remnant in certain constructions, such as vergiss mein nicht, forget-me-nots, meinetwegen, because of me or as far as I'm concerned, or sie ist sich meiner bewusst, she's aware of me. However, nowadays, the genitive personal pronouns are not used anymore, formally or colloquially, and they could lead you to mistakenly believe that this is a possessive pronoun like my, your, or his, which it is not. If you are in a situation where a verb or a preposition requires a genitive personal pronoun, just use the dative instead. Wegen, because of, demands the genitive, and if you want to say because of me, just say wegen mir. Here's another thing I've already mentioned in my video about gender. The English third-person pronouns, he, she, it, can be used to refer back to men, women, and objects. So, biological gender, basically. German pronouns, however, refer back to the noun by its grammatical gender instead. For instance, the German word for planet, der Planet, is male, and you have to keep that in mind when you want to refer back to him. And yes, that applies to all three cases. Here's how that could look like. Das ist unser Planet. Heißt Erde. That's our planet. He is called Earth. Der Planet ist in Schwierigkeiten und wir müssen ihn retten. The planet is in trouble and we have to save him. Das ist unser Planet und wir leben auf ihm. That's our planet and we're living on him. Alright, there's much more to say about this topic, such as the use of man as an indefinite pronoun, the dummy pronoun it as in it rains, or the substitution of personal pronouns for articles which express familiarity and informality. But that would go way beyond the scope of this video, and I'll make sure to cover these topics in future lessons. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if there's something left unclear. You can also help this channel grow by sharing this video with friends who learn German, and I'll see you all next time. Haut rein!